Hey guys! So I'm procrastinating by deciding to film a series of videos about bullet journaling or planning or whatever, but I mean it's mainly going to be about bullet journaling. Essentially I started doing it 2 years ago, actually 2 years ago to the dot. Was using it, but then this year I tried a different planning organization system and it's just, I haven't been using it as much. I don't know if it's the system itself, if it's me and my mindset about it or what, but I just haven't been using it as much as I wanted to, and I knew I was using the bullet journal pretty regularly, like weekly, and this one I really have to force myself to even do it weekly, and sometimes I think when I'm on a good stretch, my current system I use weekly, but lately it's been like bi-weekly or monthly, whereas before I was using the bullet journal multiple times a week. At most I would go maybe only once a week, but I was still touching it a lot more. So I decided it might be interesting. I don't know. I felt like making a series of videos about it. So this first one that I'm going to start right now is kind of looking at my old bullet journal setup, like the one that I had in 2016, and then the one that I used the entire year of 2017. And then next video I'll go over like what I'm using now and what about it is not really working for me. And then the last video will be me migrating into a bullet journal. And you guys will get to see all the fun drawing stuff, whatever. So that was my plan. I know everyone and their mother is making bullet journal videos, but I mean, whatever, why not jump in? Without further ado, I'll get my nice brand new down shooter setup going and show you guys my first steps into bullet journaling and how I did it. So essentially I started with this notebook first. I know bullet journals are supposed to be dot grid, but I mean I started this in August of 2016, so I didn't want something too big anyways. And then this is the official bullet journal poster child, the Leuchtturm, what is it, 1917 or whatever. And this I managed to fit an entire year in here. So we'll start with my very first one. I have not looked at this in a while, so that should be interesting. But let's get started. I got this at a Daiso. I think it was $1.50. It's just a cute little design, and it had 100-something pages in it. So I had my info in the beginning, and we start, of course, with the index. Very important. Here, especially, the pages weren't numbered, so I actually hand numbered all the pages in the corner. But yeah, you can see this is, well, I really have not looked at this in a while, but the index goes on for, I almost used the entire thing really here. You'll notice the book is almost the same size as the Leuchtturm, but the lines, like, there's fewer lines, so yeah. I guess I started this in September, so well, it literally has been 2 years ago. I had a key, so since this was my first bullet journal, I was kind of just following like the bullet journal guidelines, so I did use a key, but later on I really stopped using this. So I kind of adjusted it because I like doing squares and filling them in, and just made up my own thing. And the future log. For this, I only had 4 months left anyways, so you can see September, October, November, December, just what I was working on, what was going on. And then, wow, my very first monthly spread, I guess this is when I started it. So, yeah, all my notes, I had my month over here and my notes over here, because it wasn't a big fan of the two-page month spreads at the time. I wanted everything bare minimum, efficient, and just like everything that I need. Like you'll notice with this, it's pretty bare minimum. I don't do a lot of fancy calligraphy or anything. It's just lists basically. So I had a daily chores list, had my bills, of course. My bills and like my budget is something that I bring into every single month, and you'll see that evolve later. I was using Google Calendars at the time. This was some random thing about aesthetic books to read and books that I have read. recipes to try, recipes I have tried. These are basically lists at the idea, like, oh, what do I want to do? What is this? You know, just a bunch of lists. Ha! That was a thing. So yeah, a lot of just to-do lists, gratitude log, when I'm 30, what do I want? And, you know, I got into bullet journaling, like I said, 2 years ago, and around then I was really reaching this kind of quarter life crisis mindset of like, what do I want to do? The career I'm in isn't as fulfilling as I thought it would be, or it's harder than I thought it would be. What will actually make me happy? Yada, yada, yada. I was reading a ton of self-help books. That's how I even came across the bullet journal in the beginning. So yeah, really, that was why I started using it, and why there's a whole bunch of these quotes and like ideas and whatnot. This was kind of pre me realizing that becoming like my own artist was really what I wanted to do. And also a lot of the inspiration for general layout, like it was classic bullet journaling, but Boho Berry was someone that influenced me a lot, especially later on with how I wanted to do my layouts and such. And the bullet journal community on Reddit, I mean, Pinterest has some stuff. There's inspiration everywhere. So if you don't know where to begin, like the resources are out there for sure. So yeah, this looks like just a bunch of, oh, I remember this. This is when I was taking my driving test. It's just a bunch of notes, just like a one-stop notebook really for what I needed to do. I think that was how I was treating this. Like, we're still on frickin' September and I'm using so much. So I just needed like a brain dump. So this is my freelance time log, which I started. This is just to-dos. I guess I'm coming into October. So here I'm kind of writing down like, how do I want to set up October? So, and here's October. So you see the same spread, just the month is on one page and my notes are on the other, so I get into more detail. This is my first official habit tracker, I think. This, I remember, was painstakingly, like I counted each of these little dashes because it wasn't really a dot grid, and went at it, 31 days, everything that I wanted. This was a thing I did with my friend about like being happy, so we did that every day. I guess I stuck with my art and such. This was 24-hour comic day. I don't remember if this was necessary, but I guess you can see how long I worked on each thing. Yeah, that was a lot. Gratitude log. This is Inktober. That year I did the Thomas Sanders prompts. And I think I finished almost all of them. Yeah. Pretty happy. So you see my to-dos. I was planning a vision board. This I actually drew. I think I vlogged about that, but yeah. Working out, more to-dos. I did a lot on some of these days. Presents that I wanted. Just more to-dos. Really just lists, and then November planning. So a lot of this, yeah, it was just like, what do I need to do this day? Let me check it off. So that was pretty much what I used this for. This was when I had the hot idea of making my own planner. Still haven't done that. This was a big, like, 5-year plan, basically. I was going ham on that, I think I was reading a ton of self-help books around this time. Like, we've got morning routine, night routine, that kind of stuff. And then here I started doing this thing, I think this is the first month I started doing it, where I would reflect on October and then write about what I was excited for in November. I think Boho Berry started doing this, and I actually really liked doing this. Like, I kept doing that for a while. So now we're at November. Here's my baby, my baby. We see the habit tracker again. Not quite as filled out as, yeah, that versus this. This seems more filled out. But yeah, you'll see this is like so basic. Like, this is so minimal, just like nitty gritty, write everything down. Like, I wasn't trying to be fancy or anything. I just was just writing it down and writing down what I wanted to do. Oh, this is NaNoWriMo. Yeah, I don't think I got very far that year. Food log I started doing, water log, portfolio ideas, just more to-do stuff. Oh, and I started writing my first personal mission statement. I think that was also, this was from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then this is my December. What am I going to do? And here I'm getting towards the end of it now. So here's December. Not as many notes. Finances again, and the habit tracker is basically empty. I think I tried being funny around this and this, I don't know. In my December weekly tracker, I was thinking, oh, I should do this, you know, once a week. Yeah, I started playing around with a weekly layout. You can see here evolving from just like blank to-do lists every day to like a weekly layout. Because I like being able to like visually see my week. And then here I was planning for my next bullet journal and making a checklist, so I knew I was including everything. And then I had a 2016 reflection, 2017 vision. So that was my first ever bullet journal. You can see I still got a couple pages left. But yeah, super nitty gritty, not very pretty. The prettiest part is the cover. But let's look at 2017 in the official Leuchtturm. So this I put on after for archiving. And index, it comes with the index, which is very nice. And all these all the pages are numbered for you, so you don't have to go do that yourself. Yeah, this, I think there's only 3, but I only used 2 of the pages anyways. So I did like a hello year sort of spread, and it was Year of the Rooster. So I felt good because I'm like, this is the year I turned 24. It's my year. I had a theme, and I rewrote my personal mission statement. And then I had my New Year's resolutions. This was kind of like mindset stuff to keep in mind, 17 for 17. And then I had like my actual resolutions. And you can see I actually did quite a bit. Here's my 2017 year at a glance. Here you might recognize stuff from other bullet journal YouTubers. Like I liked this idea of year at a glance. I actually messed up around here and I made a note of it that I had fucked up my weeks. And then instead of a future log, I had my quarterly goals because I didn't like how many pages the future log took, because future log is supposed to be, you see, like you break down every month. But what I did instead was I did just by quarters. So I had quarter 1, 2, 3, 4. I think Boho Berry did this as well. A lot of this stuff, honestly, it's borrowed from a whole bunch of other people. So just bear that in mind. I'm not the genius who came up with all this stuff. But yeah, I just broke down what I wanted to do in the first 3 months, second 3 months, and whatnot. And when I started the year, I only really finished, like I only filled out this part. All of this was empty. This got filled out as I moved through the year because I could see what did I actually do here. This is what I'm going to do here. What did I do? What, yada, yada, yada. And then here, I know some people will use the future log to write down birthdays and travel and whatnot, but I just made a key down here. Like if it's in green, it's a birthday. If it's a square, I'm traveling. If it's this, it's a holiday. If this is just some other thing, like an appointment or something. So that was my little key, and the only real key that I ever use here, you'll notice. I had a life in pixels, which didn't go anywhere. Monthly tracker. Yeah, I kept track of that. Challenges to try. This is my weekly tracker. So it's just 52 weeks, and then I just, you know, everything I wanted to do weekly, I would keep track of. This died off. A lot of this stuff just ended up dying off. This was something I didn't end up using because I didn't have any freelance. Another to read and to watch. I actually kept track of this on my phone, though. Projects to finish it. Just things to finish. Morning, night routine. These I never used. Some quotes I really did get into. Ideas, kind of. This is another kind of 5-year plan that I wrote out. Level 10 life was a concept that I learned from Boho Berry, but she learned it from someone else. I don't remember, but it's you rate your life out of 10 and go from there. And then, so instead of a yearly future log, since you had seen I broke it up into quarters, at the beginning of the quarter I would make a first quarter future log or second quarter or whatever. So this was as far as I went with the future log. I only wanted to focus on the first 3 months and then go from there. And because I think you can't really plan out your year in advance as much. So I would just go, okay, January this, February this, and they would get filled out whenever things would happen. So that was what I used, and I had an action plan for, in this quarter, what do I want to do? And sometimes I'd break it up into the month or whatnot. So we have January. This might look familiar. The month on this side, notes and my goals. I really liked this spread at the time. Add my daily habit tracker. I was on it because I was not employed, so I had all the time in the world to work on this stuff, like color coding, all that shit. Of course, my finances and my budget. I have this every single month, and I transfer the stuff that I write down here into a Google sheet, which calculates my budget as well for me. Like, I am so on track of my budget. I don't follow it all the time, but I have all the analytics and the data. So I've been doing it for like since 2015, 2014 almost. It's been a while. And honestly, I think it's beneficial because even though I don't do it every week, I do it usually once a month or sometimes once every 2 months at most. I think the longest I've gone was 3 months. And it really guilts you into realizing how much stuff you spend on worthless shit. So this I do I still do it every single month, so this one I was doing PIT. This was a weekly schedule I wanted to do. I was following a meal plan at the time, I had a food log. And here we have my week at a glance and then my dailies. So I really my thing is I don't want to use a whole bunch of pages. So I just like my week on one page, my dailies on, 2 pages. Like that's efficient to me. But you'll see the weekly stuff change too. So more week, then reflection, intention. I did that every week, every month too. February, exercise and food. I did the same. This was crazy and just wrote down everything I owned. And then, here's something a little different. So instead of, you'll see this, I had my week on this side and this, and then notes over here, which, by the way, this is how the Moleskine planner is set up. But that was where I got the idea from, because I knew the Moleskine planner was set up similarly to this. But I decided to change it up and do something like this. Again, I think Boho Berry or someone was doing something similar, so I thought, okay, goals here, notes here, next week's I can see, and then do it like that. It was like a 2-page spread that combined like my weekly view with a place for me to write my daily log. But you'll see I wasn't really writing as much in there. It's March, started getting a little fancy, but I mean, you'll note I wasn't pretty fancy beforehand. This I just stopped using. So this is different. Here again, I try to combine that week at a glance with my daily layout. So I just had 2 pages for this. But I didn't really use the little blocks as much. Like, it looks pretty, but I didn't use it as much. Like here, this is completely empty. Like, I did some stuff here, but some notes. Again, trying to be fancy and not really using it. I think someone saw this and was like, wow, you're so organized. But I'm like, I haven't written anything in here. This is a birthday capsule, which I started doing that year, where I just wrote down, like, how did I celebrate my birthday? Where am I? Like a snapshot into my life. And then we're in the second quarter, so you can see now, I have April, May, and June. And then what are my big dates here? What is my action plan revised from before, etc. And then April. Kind of similar to the February layout where I just had everything all on 2 pages. And then this was kind of a different thing that I tried. And then going back to this. So there's a lot of back and forth on what I wanted. Oh, and then this was, I had read some 13-week roadmap thing, and I went all in and wrote everything out, and this was like the layout for 1 week, and I was gonna go hard on it. And these were the daily stuff, and I was just crying because I was using so many pages, and then I tried to condense it, and yeah, it didn't last very long, spoiler alert. So here, yeah, you can see, I think I tried to continue using it, and instead adapted this kind of layout, which again is similar to that Moleskine layout where it's just, this is even more condensed, I guess. Here's my week, and here's just a to-do list of what to do that week, and this is only going to have like specific occasions, and then this I can just do whenever. It's June, this month, June fitness, training, energy. So this was kind of that same layout except without the lines. It's just more freeform. But yeah, I just kind of put in, okay, I have to do that this day, but my actual to-do is kept on a weekly thing, and just, I could do it whenever. Business brand ideas. You can see they're getting a bit more sparse. They're less theatrical. I think it just reflects kind of how busy I was. Third quarter, and you know, I started using some washi tape to delineate like the months. Here's July. This is just empty. I think I was so busy this month I didn't do anything. Yeah, this month was like 5 pages. August, nothing. And then, oh, this is different. So here I started mimicking a like Google Calendar setup, because I remembered using this setup in college, and except it was on a large printout and I would just do it every single week, and it worked really well for me. So I started doing that here. I'm going back to just, I'll write my dailies. So you can see this is my week, and then here's my weekday to-dos and my weekend to-dos. So it's again a 2-page weekly daily spread, which I like because it's efficient. This I don't think I did any of that. I went on vacation. September, just kind of playing around with different ideas. Just kind of sticking with that still. Which kind of was weird because this is horizontal and this was not, but... Oh, and then here, oh, there you go. I changed it to be all on 1 page. So instead of a 2-page layout, I had, okay, here's my condensed week, just so I can visualize like chunks of time and whatever, and then this would be like my to-do list. And then this was planning for 2018 all the way in September. My 4th quarter log, this is really sparse. I just didn't have a lot going on. So you can see I kept that going for a while. Yeah, I really liked this layout. I don't know if I'll use that this year, but it worked for me at the time. Yeah. To do before I leave, to do when I'm at home, whole yearly reflection, and then this is a list of everything I wanted to bring into 2018. And then my 2018 vision, and that's the end of it. Oh, and at the very back I had an ink test page so I can see like the bleed through. So yeah, that's the 2017-2018 bullet journal that I used. So yeah, those were my 2 bullet journals. Hope you enjoyed that bullet journal tour. Hopefully this video doesn't end up being forever long, but it is 2 journals, 1.5 years almost of information. So I just, honestly, the takeaway that I hope you get from it is when I first started, it was very nitty gritty, just using it for what was right for me. And I know it can be intimidating because people are making beautiful bullet journals and they're doing beautiful layouts and everything seems perfect, but mine was messy and it wasn't perfect and I was changing layouts all the time, and you know, that's fine because it's for you. Like, whatever works for you, it's okay if it's ugly, it's okay if it's messy, like, just as long as it gets the job done, then that's fine. With that said, I think with my new bullet journal, I'm trying to use it for like art and then trying to use it to further supplement my art, or I don't know, like I want it to be more art centric, so I might try to go for a little more aesthetic look or something with a little more effort put into it, I guess, which is kind of opposite of what I said, but again, I think maybe that's what I need to do for myself, is just use it as a way to keep track of my art and then maybe reflect that. Maybe I want to have a little more fun with it or take some more time with it. So that's kind of my mindset going forward. I've seen some really pretty watercolor stuff going on with it, so with that other artists have made, so maybe I'll do that myself. But again, my point is, like, I don't know how it's gonna end up looking, but I don't want you to look at that or at other people's bullet journals and go, oh my god, like, how do I even get started? Mine doesn't look pretty. It's not like perfect or something. Like, the 2 bullet journals that I showed you are messy as hell. So just like, I've been through it, it was messy, and I don't care. It worked for me and it got the job done. So that's, I guess, the point that I want to make to you guys. Thanks for watching. The next video coming up will be about my process now and why it doesn't really work for me. So it's all about like what doesn't work for me. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time.